This is Dark and Darker, and today we'll be discussing what are the best unique weapons in the game. Welcome mates, I am BloodThirstyLord, but you can call me Lordy, and in this video, we'll be highlighting all 11 unique weapons, also known as named weapons, that provide unique benefits to your gameplay in Dark and Darker. Let's get into the juicy details. In the most recent playtest, I've seen a couple of these weapons in action, but never had the chance to see every unique weapon in Dark and Darker. Luckily, another content creator on YouTube highlighted what those are. ModX, his channel will be linked below, and we'll be putting those unique weapons into a tier list of what is best to mediocre. And start with the first unique weapon being Aegis. Available on Fighters and Cleric, the unique stat or attribute it does actually possess is can deflect projectile spells while in defensive stance. After reflection is triggered, you remain able to reflect for 3 seconds and cannot reflect anything for 20 seconds after performing a spell reflection. This is kind of interesting against mages more than anything. When you're playing as fighter or cleric, you can be able to sustain by reflecting a fireball back towards the enemy team, but also the next 3 seconds as you barge in towards enemies. This is going to work out pretty well because you pretty much have invisibility when it comes to any type of reflect in the game. So ranges become redundant, wizards become redundant as well when they use their fireballs or any type of spell because it just reflects back towards the enemy players, which is amazing to see. I think that's crazy and it just seems like it has a lot of potential. This weapon is also based on the heater shield, so this is the unique weapon of the heater shield, and we're going to place this in the A tier rank. A lot of survivability that comes out of this once it does reflect, and the next 3 seconds you have so much opportunity to make a big play with a fighter or cleric. And the next unique weapon is the Elven Bow of Truth, a unique variant of the survival bow used by rangers and can be used by fighters with weapon mastery. The unique aspects to this weapon are, when shooting this bow, the action speed is very fast and the arrows fly in a straight line. With survival bows in the game, the projectile velocity is kind of redundant. It's really hard to land unless they're close range and you pretty much poke around corners, or using perks to enhance the velocity of the arrow so it doesn't just go straight down after shooting a couple meters towards the enemy. In this case, it'll pretty much be a hit scan with the survival bow at this unique variant. The damage is quite low at 26-27. It will depend on the unique variant and also the unique stats you do gain. Being does it have more increased weapon damage and increasing a build around that as well with pendants, rings, and other items to increase your weapon damage or your damage overall when using the Elven Bow of Truth. So I'm going to rank this around A if you get a good variant of it, and most likely at B if it's going to be a bad variant, aka no increased damage, but the weapon will still be good, so that's why I give it between A and B. I'm just going to place on B so the mates know that, but it can be A if it has good weapon damage. And the next unique weapon is Famine, which is a unique weapon of the Horse Axe for the Fire class and Barbarian. With this special animation, it does provide hitting the target will render them unable to receive any healing effects for 20 seconds. And this is just crazy. Essentially, in these games, healing is such a predominant factor of keeping your team alive throughout ongoing fights. Imagine you get one slash by this, and then whatever class playing a fighter or Barbarian is able to move out from that corner or after hitting someone and they didn't full commit to a play, the enemy player can't actually heal for 20 seconds. That's insane. Any rangers or any wizards on your team can then start to pretty much poke away and hopefully do some splash damage towards the enemy and just kill them because they can't do anything except try away at the timer until they can heal after the duration of your special animation has been completed on the enemy, which makes them able to heal again after 20 seconds. So I think it's a great utility to have on a kit, and any class that has the ability to pretty much rendered healing useless is very important to me. And I believe this weapon will be a S rank weapon for the Barbarian classes and fighters. And then we have the next unique weapon being the Fulgor, a variant of the longsword, which can be used by fighters as well. The special attribute on this weapon is if you hit an enemy, summon a thunderbolt to deal 20 additional magical damage. This seems like it's just free damage after going for a couple hits or for a hit, and every time there'll be a thunderbolt actually landing on the enemy for 20 additional damage. It just seems really good. It just seems to provide more versatility for your character to have more damage on a fire class. And I feel like that's really nice overall. Obviously, there's different stats you can have on it depending on the variant you do get on this unique weapon, being does it have more increased damage, does it have more weapon damage, does it have more tanky benefits, whatever it may be. They'll most likely change the adjustment of the ranking, but I'm just going to give it a rank. The next weapon is the Kuma's Claw, being the arming sword variant. It does provide a special animation of 15% additional dark magical damage, and this will be a B rank. And only due to the fact that the only classes that can use these weapons are rangers and fighters, and majority of the time they end up not using this at all. So it ends up being useless. Being the arming swords, they're not just used compared to using a spear or other weapons for both the ranger and fighter. They're just more of a predominant factor you can have in your gameplay to get easier melee kills, because their hitting animation is just easier to land and the reach is great compared to an arming sword. But this is still pretty decent on its stats, so that's why it's been placed at a B rank. The next weapon is Life After Death, being the double axe variant used by barbarians. When receiving a lethal attack, HP becomes 1 and becomes invincible for 2 seconds. This effect can only be triggered once during an adventure. This is the special animation for Life After Death, being the double axe, and I'm going to give this a rank of A. It is overpowered in one instance of a fight, but nothing more than that. So if you get into one fight early game and in the actual match and you're about to die and this saves you, that's good, but during the rest of the actual gameplay, it comes down to core gameplay and hoping to survive and not having this as a secondary option to give you a second wind or revive mechanic when you just don't die. So that's something to keep in mind, that this only happens once, and that's the only reason why it's been placed on A. If this was ongoing effect, it would be easily S+. Like, no issue there at all. But right now, A is great for this ability on the double axe for barbarians to use, and I feel like it works out really well, because the one aspect of a barbarian is his weakness to get close, unless he's got good positioning, and dropping a target through a surprise mechanic, like around corners, around a door, or opening the door with his axe, where it may be, to surprise the target. When he has to run a long, narrow pathway towards enemy, this is when this ability would be very useful on this double axe. And the next unique weapon is the Nipalan, being a longbow variant for the rangers to utilize, and also weapon mastery fighters as well. The unique benefit that you gain on this is that it does push back hit targets. This is kind of cool. I think this is going to be easily an S rank ability. The longbow does have a slow animation. On rangers, it's much faster when you do have quick shot as well to synergize with it, and landing 3 shots that push back enemies a lot further away from you is honestly a great thing for this ability on the longbow. And the damage of this actual longbow at base stat is 63 to 66, and if you have better stats to go alongside it, this could potentially one-shot players and also push back the tankier players away from you as they're trying to rush you, being barbarians, fighters, and even battle clerics, which is a thing, so keep an eye for that. This will save you in those situations, to say the least. So that is why it is an S rank. Then the next unique weapon is Pestilence, being a ranged weapon, being the recurve bow. The special animation is hitting the target inflicts a disease that deals 12 magic damage for 3 seconds. So think about some type of bleed, which can't be repaired by a bandage. That is why it's classified as a disease, so we'll be taking the damage of 12 magic damage guaranteed for that 3 seconds. And if it does stack the effect with quick shot as well, that means you're doing more damage at 36 for 3 seconds, or 36 over a couple seconds, being 5 or 6 depending on when the quick shots land. That's pretty disgusting, leading to the chance of you one-shotting enemies with base damage and this special animation at the same time. And that is why I classify this as a S rank weapon. And it also does help out with the PvE clears against skeletons to the highest bosses in the game. The next unique weapon is Pulverizing Prayer, which is a one-hand weapon available to the cleric class. And this does have a special animation of crushing the enemy's armor with each hit, reducing the target's physical defense by 25%, stacks up to 3 times, so reaching a 75% decrease of physical defense on the enemy target that he's stacking on, which is kind of interesting ability to have. And also alongside that, barbarians have a single ability that's able to actually reach this component of 75% armor pen towards the enemy and be able to kill that player. Obviously that's just one instance of armor pen that he can only use, while this can be stacked for other players to also do damage towards those enemies as well. So if you are a solo cleric, this will be a B rank weapon, but if you are playing in a team, this will most likely be a rank weapon, as you can pretty much single hit each enemy and get 25% increased damage for those enemies with the rest of your team. I think that's pretty decent for team comp, and it's very good to stack on as well if someone is even tankier, like a tanky fighter or such, against an enemy team. This will work out really well. So B to A rank depending on what scenario you're in. And the next unique weapon is Viola, being the rapier variant, which can be used by rangers and rogues. The special animation is hitting an enemy deals 2 additional magic damage, freezes them, and frostbites them for 10 seconds. And this weapon for both those classes do provide quite a bit of reach for the actual melee attack range, and for rogues it does have good synergy due to the fact that of having increased movements and also having increased damage overall through these components here, and rest of your kit synergizing with it, it's going to work out pretty well. And you'll be able to one-shot majority of enemies, or get to 2 or 3 shots depending on the tankiness of a character. But being able to have some type of CC, some type of increased damage, and also slowing them in some type of way is kind of crazy for this class. So that is why the Viola is ranked at A rank. And the last unique weapon is Cinder, used by fighters, being the weapon variant of the halberd. And the special animation highlighting hitting an enemy deals 10 additional magic damage and burns them for 3 seconds. And due to the fact of of just getting increased damage and burn effects on this class, and the reach you do get out of this weapon is quite nasty, I will put that at a rank. And most likely with this weapon, you will be able to one-shot majority of the time, or even two shots, and with the effects, most likely they will be running for the dear lives before you get that last attack on them. And those are all the unique weapons in Dark and Darker, all level weapons, every variant that you can get at this current moment. I'm hoping to see other weapon variants in the future, like a unique spear of some sort. That'll be really fun to see. But until then, these are the weapons that we know of, and those are the benefits, and that is our tier list on the unique weapons in Dark and Darker. But mate, tell me your opinions and thoughts in the comment section down below. What is the best weapon from the list? In the comment section down below, I'd love to know. And if you mates want to see more Dark and Darker content on the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. As always, mates, it's a pleasure to have you guys on the channel as we go through this, and I'll catch you, mates, next time. Bye. Road to 200k subscribers. Let's get it, mates.